Welcome to the Exec Exchange, 15-minute podcast in which a leader from the water sector shares a story to inspire, inform, and educate other water sector leaders from around the globe. My name's Piers Clark, and my guest today is Mike Rose, the new Chief Executive at UKWIR, the UK Water Industry Research. And we're going to be talking about collaboration in research. Does it help or does it hinder? Mike, wonderful to have you with us today.
Thank you, Piers, for the invitation to come and talk to you. It's been great to work with you as I've started this role.
Well, I want to know about your background. Take me back a few decades and just fill in the gaps. How did you get to where you are today?
I'm getting on for nearly 30 years in water and infrastructure. I started my career in the northwest of England with United Utilities, working in operational roles, and progressed through the organisation and ended up in asset management, where I took on a variety of strategy and regulation roles, helping the organisation through strategic regulatory reviews and also operational incidents. The second part of my career, I spent building both advisory services and technology businesses for Arcadis in the UK and internationally, working with asset owners and operators in road, rail, energy and water to make sustainable decisions and develop and transform how they operated as organisations.
Brilliant. 3 decades in the water sector. You've been in infrastructure. You've been in technology. You've been on the utility side. You've been on the supplier side. Wonderful. No wonder you're in the role you're in now. So what were you doing just before you arrived at UKWIR?
I established myself as an independent advisor and had actually been working in the UK water sector, helping a number of UK water companies set themselves up when the opportunity was presented to me by the current board of UKWIR to explore the potential of leading the organisation as my predecessor departed. And it just felt like a really kind of symbiotic fit where, as you say, some of those skills that I'd developed and experiences that I'd had fit the needs of what the board wanted for the organisation going forward.
Yeah, what I like there is just before you took this role, you were actually working in a small company. So you've done big company, you've done small company, you've been across them all. All right. Now, for lots of people listening to this, they won't ever have heard of UKWIR, UKWIR, or United Kingdom Water Industry Research. So imagine this is the first time I've been introduced to UKWIR. What is it?
We are a collaboration platform for delivering exceptional, impartial research to some of the sector's biggest challenges and problems. We have been established for over 30 years, supported by our 18 UK and Irish water company members, also working internationally, collaborating with the Global Water Research Coalition, amongst others, along with academia, the supply chain and regulators to understand complex problems, develop solutions for them and create the insight that allows policymakers to create policy and also asset operators and owners to invest and operate their organizations.
Excellent. So what we've got in UKWIR is a research body that undertakes defensive research on behalf of the sector, in particular the sector for the UK, but we'll be talking a bit about the international aspects a bit later in this conversation. So it's funded by the water companies. I'm not after the precise amount of funding, but broadly, what sort of ranges is it?
We deliver multi-million pound research programs on an annual basis, both collaboratively through our One Voice program of research, but then also specifically working with those members to help them deliver some of their regulatory obligations.
Yeah, if I'm a water company, I've got a specific problem, but I know 17 of the other water companies around me have got the same problem. It would be somewhat foolish to just tackle that problem on my own and have 17 different people spending 17 different budgets solving the same problem. Now, walk me through some of the successes and projects that you've been through, and maybe some of the failures. I don't know if there are any. Walk me through some of the examples of the things that UKWIR has done.
As a result of our 30 years of research, we've created a huge wealth of information. Recently, one of our successes has been to launch an AI search capability over the top of that, allowing our members to interrogate that wealth of information to understand and develop answers for some of the problems that they face today. It was one of the criticisms and challenges of our kind of legacy data sets that they were a little bit impenetrable, and AI really has helped us unlock the potential and the power of the work that we've done over those years.
Yeah, you say it's a criticism, but let's be fair. UKWIR has been around for 30 years. You've been generating some world-leading science. which is written, not surprisingly, in the 1990s in physical reports that people got. There wasn't such a thing as the internet back then. So digitizing that learning so that your members and people in the sector can then access it using modern day tools. It's a bit unfair to call it a criticism of the past because it didn't exist.
That's fair enough, yeah. But I think one of the things that perhaps people, even who are familiar with UKWIR, won't necessarily recognise us for is some of the portfolio of products, tools and services that we deliver for members that help our clients, every part of the water cycle, work efficiently, work effectively, work collaboratively on common challenges.
You've mentioned these tools that you've created. And if I'm a utility, what's this tool that I'm using? How does it help my business?
One would be REDUP. That helps people understand how the future rainfall patterns will affect sewage systems. Flooding costs the UK somewhere in the order of £2 billion per annum. Big problem, not just for water companies, but also local authorities, landowners. And by enabling organisations to understand future scenarios, they can obviously look at kind of the infrastructure needs, the investment decisions, how to create interventions more sustainably and work again collaboratively, because rainfall is not just a water company challenge. It is a consumer challenge. It is a landowner challenge. It is an industry challenge.
So this is a tool that the industry recognized they needed. They gave you the exam question of, we need someone to develop a tool that will solve this problem. UKWIR then went away, worked with a whole array of contractors and academics to generate this tool that now exists for the members to use. So do the members pay a fee to use that tool, or do they now have access to it because they pay for it upfront? Does it come as part of their wider membership?
It absolutely comes as part of our wider membership, yes, as do all of the tools and services that we provide. A number of them are available just by simply registering your details and logging onto the website. Some of them we do control access to, but all UKWIR members get access to our full suite of products and services.
Excellent. All right. You said you were going to give me a couple of case studies. Give me the second one.
Something I guess front of mind for many people at the moment is water quality monitoring and pollution control. It's a matter that is often in the UK media, and our source apportionment and geographical information system, or also known as SIGES, enables the integration of multiple models to build a clear picture at catchment level of where sources of pollution are coming from, what the impact on the environment is, and what the options and requirements for interventions might be. It enables regulators, landowners, and water companies to come together to understand their own contributions to that kind of aquatic picture and ensure that there is a plan in place for water quality in the future, compliance and control. I think that it's only by working together that we are really ultimately going to get the river quality that we all want and need.
All right. So you've done a water quality, you've done a drainage one. Part of the reason I was so confident in asking you to give a second case study was because when I was working for a water utility, the one that everyone always said was just spectacular, world class, was actually the carbon accounting tool. Can you give me 30 seconds on the carbon accounting tool?
Our carbon accounting workbook was developed in response to water companies needing to deliver a whole suite of reporting around carbon, be that through Climate Change Disclosure Task Force or the Streamlined Energy and Carbon Reporting Regulations. This is a standardized product developed in 2007, updated annually to reflect the latest best practice and science in measuring and accounting for carbon. So what gets measured can get managed. And ultimately, what it allows our members to do is create efficient and consistent estimates of their carbon emissions across the sector and the supply chain.
That's the key point for something like carbon accounting. You need to be able to make sure that you've got comparators that stand up to robust examination. And we actually probably need to get to those comparators that can be taken across international boundaries so that you can then say, well, so-and-so is doing this in the Netherlands and they're doing this in Canada. But just before we get there, everything UKWIR does is around collaboration and innovation. But there's a downside to collaboration. You slow things down, you lose some of the sharp edge of innovation. How do you balance that bit of the moment you collaborate, you create some dynamic that makes it just different from if a utility just wanting to plow its own fire on its own?
For me, one of the best examples of our collaboration will be our leakage network. They are engaged across the sector, across all stakeholders in understanding the dynamics of best practice, of performance, the importance of sharing information in a space where there really is very little competitive advantage is for me hugely important. And ultimately, it's about the way those people engage, and the passion that they bring to working with UKWIR is invaluable in and of itself.
Good answer. I like that. You're called UKWIR, and the UK in UKWIR, the U and the K stands for the United Kingdom. Is this a parochial, we just do it in the UK, and if you're outside the UK, screw you, we're not interested? Or do you have strong international links?
Absolutely strong international links, both with the supply chain partners that we deliver with, who obviously are quite often global organizations, but also one of our roles on behalf of our members is to represent them through the Global Water Research Coalition, which includes members from Singapore, Australia, Europe, and North America, really to ensure that we share best practice, we leverage what we know in the UK with our partners overseas, but equally we're able to bring what they've understood overseas back into the UK to accelerate the understanding of some of the emerging science for our members.
Okay, so if I'm an Australian utility and I'm listening to this now and I think, blimey, I'd love to know more about the carbon accounting tool, what do I do? Do I drop you an email?
Yes, we are always open to talking with potential collaborators and partners. For me, my career has been built on partnership. It's been built on collaboration. And I think the more that we share with one another, the faster we move forward together. I'm reminded of the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So let's go together.
Brilliant. I like that. Now, we always finish with a bit of a personal question. Let's go back 3 decades to a young Mike Rose. What advice would you give him?
Probably about a third of the way through my career, I learned about my own personal strengths, but then also when you overplay your strengths, they can become weaknesses. So my advice to my younger self would be to identify and learn your personal strengths sooner rather than later, and then learn how to use them to great effect, but also manage and control them because they can be part of the reason that it can be difficult to get stuff done.
Excellent. You have been listening to the Exec Exchange with me, Piers Clark, and my guest today has been Mike Rose, Chief Executive of UK Water Industry Research, UKWIR, and we've been talking about collaboration and innovation. I hope you can join us next time. Thank you.